I am Mayoshi from NHK, the Japanese broadcasting company. President Trump stated on social media that he met with you and said that Ukraine can reclaim all of its territory lost since the beginning of the war, with the support it receives. However, achieving this remains difficult, especially when it comes to reducing energy dependence on Russia, as you have mentioned. What are you demanding from European countries? Do you believe they can secure and provide the kind of support President Trump is referring to in relation to Europe?
Thank you for the question. Russia is currently facing economic challenges. These challenges do exist. However, Russia will not complain because it has a substantial amount of cash. Everyone understands this. They possess large reserves of money in various formats. The primary and most significant source of budget revenue for Russia is its energy resources, specifically the large-scale sale of natural gas and oil. Europe, in one form or another, through various countries, not directly but via intermediaries, continues to receive energy resources from the Russian Federation. As a result, Russia continues to export large amounts of energy and receive substantial amounts of money in return, which it then spends exclusively on sustaining and escalating its war efforts. Why exclusively on war? Because we do not see any increase in social support within Russia. That means all of this money is being directed toward warfare. If there is a shortage of funds for war, there will be a reduction in social support for the Russian population. If social support declines, public dissatisfaction will grow, and the Russian leadership will also become unstable. Historically, Russia has always changed through uprisings driven by hunger. I will not speculate on the direction of such change, but it is certain that leadership has shifted in those moments. That is why they fear this outcome. Europe must stop all forms of supply. Yes, there are risks, we understand that. Alternative logistics may be more expensive. But a solution must be found to halt the purchase of energy resources from any country that ultimately sources them from Russia. In this regard, I fully support the United States of America. Absolutely. Because we are directly affected. I believe Europe must take a closer look at these drones, at all the threats and intimidation coming from Russia. Europe must also recognize these threats and signals. It would be quite strange and illogical if they continued importing energy resources from the Russian Federation despite the ongoing conflict and all the clear evidence against such dependence. For example, drones have reached our Nordic partners. Where did they come from? Anyone can easily sit down, open a map, and clearly understand the most likely origin, if those drones are indeed of Russian origin. One plausible and concerning possibility is the continued and deliberate use of the Russian Federation's naval fleet, systematically navigating through and exploiting the waterways of our European friends and partners for strategic advantage. So when we talk about a truly comprehensive solution, it is not just about energy alone. It is also about addressing the issue of the shadow fleet, and more broadly, about effectively halting Russia's ability to trade and export goods by sea. That is another critical step, reducing Russia's economic capacity. Yes, we are discussing this with Slovakia and Hungary, but it is not only about those two countries. Slovakia and Hungary have had direct contracts with Russia for various energy supplies. But there are other countries involved, countries that either receive energy resources or refined energy products, or accept payments from Russia for the logistics of energy deliveries to other nations. We have spoken many times about sanctions. If we are talking about energy sanctions against Russia, then let us truly talk about energy sanctions against Russia. Not occasionally but consistently. Without exceptions, without unnecessary conditions, completely and comprehensively. If we are talking about the banking sector, about the shadow fleet, there is a list. There are 500 vessels. Yes, 500. Sanctions must be imposed on them, legal sanctions, physical sanctions targeting the crews, the captains, and so forth. That is how this can be stopped. Yes, Russia will face a major deficit. In the year 2026, Russia's defense budget was reduced by 50 billion. They will find that 50 billion because they have more money in their pockets. More money.